5 things to watch here on KC Sports Network. Tucker Franklin hanging out, getting you set for a absolutely massive playoff type matchup with the Kansas City Chiefs and the Houston Texans going down on Sunday Night Football from Arrowhead Stadium. It's going to be a chilly day at Arrowhead. Can't wait for that one. Got to shout out our friends, Batchelder Family Farms. Today's sponsor, the sponsor of the show, as you guys know and love. Not out there at the farm today, but you could take advantage and go see them out at the Overland Park Farmers Market for the last weekend that they'll be out there. You can go see them at the farm store, 2810 South Prospect Avenue in Belton, Missouri. Always go out there and check them out. They got all this good stuff at their website, batchelderfamilyfarms.com as well. Go check them out. If you don't know the drill yet, this is 5 things. We give you 5 things to look for. The KC Laboratory, Matt Lane, Kent Swanson will give you what they're watching for. No Maddie Hamilton today, so I'm giving you 2 things that I'm watching for in my Beef of the Week, presented by Batchelder Family Farms. And then we'll have Benny's picks and round it out with the only weird games, guys. Excited to get this one going, so let's not make you wait any longer. Kent, Maddie, what do you got for me?
Thanks, Tuck. It is Kent Swanson and Maddie Lane here from the KC Laboratory for our thing for 5 things. Maddie Lane, quite literally, the season pretty much well and good on the line on Sunday Night Football against the Houston Texans. How excited are you to see this team and see if they can bounce back from what ails them the last few weeks?
Boy, excited is a strong word for what I'm feeling about this game right now. I think for the first time this year, I think I'm nervous. I don't think typically for these other games, even though they've been equally as must win as must win can be for an NFC game or the Colts game, there was they need to win. But there was kind of a belief that they have it in the bag. There was a belief they were going to start turning it around. This is the week where I don't know. This one's a little nervous. This one feels like a loss here, especially in the way that it could go, just given the matchup that we're looking at with the Chiefs' injuries and the team they're going up against. This really could be like a defining, it really is over.
Definitely are some nerves here, especially considering the games that this team typically bounce back from. Have happened 3 times in a row, and they've lost them all. So that's, I think, one of the things that's a little bit alarming with this team. And it sounds like, Steve Spagnuolo saying they had their best padless practice of the season. I think there's a
he's still on 7 years.
Yeah, that's true. And 7 years here. So I mean, there is that, but and I think it tells you if they don't have it Sunday, they may not have it for the entirety of this season, and that might tell you a lot about the 2025 Chiefs. So we're gonna, it's all these games have been big. All these games have been different, but they've all been big for different reasons, and this one is no different. The offense is going to be challenged significantly in this game. The best defense in football. Potentially without their top, 3 of their 5 offensive linemen that they start. Typically, you might see, Mike Caliendo, you might see Jalen Moore and Wanye Morris all playing against one of the best defensive lines in football, and one of the best defenses in football. It's going to be a huge task for this team, and somebody, somewhere in that skill group has to make a play, Maddie Lane.
Well, yeah, that's I think the key for this one, right? Even if Juwan Taylor's able to play, you're still going to be down 2 starters on your offensive line versus one of the best pass rushes in the entire NFL. And so whether whoever's playing or not, someone's going to have to help Patrick Mahomes out on this team. Somebody is a playmaker. Somebody is going to have to do something dynamic. They are going to have to earn some respect and put some fear into this Houston Texans defense. And it's not easy. This defense is one that I think plays not scared of anyone, right? And especially if you look at the Chiefs across from you, there's not a single person on this offense right now that I think they are going to be afraid of or concerned with besides Patrick Mahomes. And someone's got to step up to help him. And the issue is, you can't call deep passes particularly well when you're going up against a pass rush that can get after a backup offensive line. They don't really have the horses to beat tight man coverage or even just some of the match zone stuff that the Texans do very easily on the outside. So nothing is going to be easy, but somebody is going to have to step up and make some big plays. Somebody is going to have to go above and beyond. It's no longer going to be good enough to, if we're open, we can make a play. If we're open, Mahomes is going to find us. We're going to do exactly what's expected from us. Somebody in this skill position, like of this team, one of these skill players is going to have to step up and to go above and beyond if they are going to have any success in this game once we get to Sunday night.
And I've drawn some parallels to that Chiefs-Vikings game when Patrick Mahomes got hurt and Matt Moore came in and played a good football game, and the Chiefs were facing a really good defensive line. You're wondering how Matt Moore was going to be able to beat this defense. And look, Matt Moore is different than Patrick Mahomes, the greatest player walking the planet. I understand that. But I think when you're just kind of looking at, like, that was a galvanizing moment for that team where they were able to get a win without Patrick Mahomes and kind of keep everything in front of them and give them that opportunity. And Tyreek Hill was a major key in that game. 140 yards receiving, a big explosive 41-yard play. Those were big moments and he was a big-time playmaker for this team that came in and stepped in. And, like, look, the expectation can't be that Tyquan Thornton or Brashard Smith or maybe Rashee Rice can come in and do, from a production standpoint, what Tyreek did in that game. But I do think it's got to be. I think they've got to find Tyquan Thornton down the field for a big explosive play. Brashard Smith needs to pop one in the screen game. Rashee Rice just needs to be a consistent body that they can feed the ball for the entirety of the game, and he's a volume earner that drops 150 yards. A lot of opportunities after the catch for Rashee Rice. They need somebody to come in and make some of these plays. And there's all flavors of it, right? But I do think I think you could see a good big moment from one of these kind of secondary pieces to the offense step in and make a big play. Or it could be a star. I don't know, but I think you're going to see kind of maybe an uncommon player make a big play in this game if the Chiefs are going to pull one out. Maddie, who's going to be the X factor in the skill player group?
Well, so this is the thing for me. I think it's got to be big plays. I don't think you can hit a Rashee Rice or Travis Kelce consistent every third down kind of thing. I don't think the way that this offense is looking to be, like, in terms of their injuries and how they're structured, to be able to march up and down the field against this Texans team. So Rashee Rice having 10 targets for 7 catches and 6 first downs doesn't seem as likely to me as somebody busting out a 20-plus yard catch. Maybe Isaiah Pacheco catches a 20-yard run, and the Chiefs have like their second running back 20-yard run of the season this particular week. I just don't think it's going to be a consistent matriculate the ball up and down the field. So you are going to need some of these skill players to make plays, and I go above and beyond. You might have to beat somebody in man coverage. You might have to make a spectacular catch or a move after the catch. So putting all these pieces together, I obviously trust Rashee Rice the most out of this room. He's the guy that has shown me the most in terms of going above and beyond, doing a little bit extra. So give me Rashee Rice. I do think this might be one of those weeks where the Chiefs might hammer 800 mesh concepts in this game, but if they can just get 2 or 3 of them where Rashee Rice can get free or he finds some open space, once he catches the ball, can he make a guy miss? Can he pick up extra yardage that may be a little not as obvious as it seems right away? Because I do think this is a game where this offense is going to live or die by some big plays. And since Rice has been back, he has been their go-to guy for the big plays. It's no longer been Thornton like it was earlier in the year. It's been Rashee Rice, not on vertical passes, but the catch and run. And I think this is another week where they might really need that skill set coming out of him. So I would look to Rashee Rice, I think, right now for some of these big playmaking abilities.
They need it. They need somebody. Somebody's got to step up in a big way, and someone's got to help Patrick Mahomes because there hasn't been enough help to this point in the season. And if they're going to get out of the slump, the skill players have to step up. All right, we're going to take a break right after this.
Heather Luce, broker owner, KC Local Homes, and Emprise Bank has been a great partner for us. They're our partner in Possible. Debbie and I hit it off immediately, and she was one of the first bankers that I would say sat down with me and actually genuinely cared about my story and where I was coming from and what I was trying to do, not just what kind of loan do you need, how much equity do you have, and she really kind of laid out my options for me and just made the process make sense. And I felt comfortable with it. Start to talk about it and think about it. A building popped up. that I wanted, that I could afford, and it was in a great area. And so they really guided me through the SBA. I used the SBA loan to acquire it and really guided me through that process and made it happen. I think that we talk about that a lot, where we wouldn't have a business. We wouldn't have what we have here if we didn't have the clientele that we do. I've always functioned out of a people over profits mentality. The houses sell themselves, right? Like, I'm here to help people and facilitate the transaction for them.
Beef of the week here on 5 Things, presented by our friends at Batchelder Family Farms, the title sponsor of this program, 5 Things, and always the sponsor of Beef of the Week. Go check them out at the farm store, 20810 South Prospect Avenue out there in Belton, Missouri. Or go check them out online, batchelderfamilyfarms.com. Orders will be delivered right to your front door from Brad. Let's get into it. I've got 2 things this week. No Matt Hamilton, so I've got 2 things to talk about, and it just so happens that there are 2 pretty big, beefy boys that are unlikely to be playing in this game. One for sure that is not going to be playing in this game. Josh Simmons hit the injured reserve this week, and man, what a bummer, because he has been cooking this season. He's allowed a pressure rate of 6.6% prior to his injury. That's the 3rd lowest mark among left tackles and the 2nd lowest by a rookie left tackle since 2018, with a minimum of 150 pass blocks. Both Jalen Moore and Wanya Morris have taken snaps at left tackle this season, with Morris playing 19 snaps in place of Simmons in week 13. And look, there's no surprise. I'm sure you guys have heard so much about how good the Texans pass rush is. Danielle Hunter has aligned at the right edge on 68.5% of the snaps this season, the right edge of a defense, the left side of the offense. That matchup will either be with Moore or Morris. We didn't get a ton of clarity on Friday. It sounded like if Jawan Taylor couldn't go, Andy Reid early in the week said, hey, if Jawan Taylor can't go, we're going to be playing Wanya at left tackle, and we're going to be playing Jalen Moore at right tackle. On Friday, when I'm recording this here segment for you guys, it sounds like there's a little bit more ambiguity when it comes down to what's going on there with the tackles that open the door. Andy Reid left the door open of Jalen Moore playing left tackle. Now, I personally think that is probably the right decision. Danielle Hunter is a dog. He's had generated a 15.2% pressure rate, the 9th highest with minimum 150 rushes. He's recorded 8 of his 11 sacks from that right side of the defense, the left side of the offense. So it's going to be really important that you get that right. It's going to be important that you get that one right for the Chiefs missing those offensive linemen. Let's talk about Jalen Moore a little bit, because Will Anderson Jr. is tied for the most pressures on the left edge, the right side of the defense, while his 18 quick pressures from such alignment are the most in the NFL. All these stats coming from Next Gen Stats. He's been on that left side 75.7% of the snaps in 2025. That matchup will be interesting if it is Jalen Moore over there, or even if it is Wanya Morris over there. We'll see how it goes. In relief on week 13, Moore allowed 3 pressures across 25 pass blocks. That's a 12% rate, excuse me. In total, he played 32 snaps at right tackle in week 13 after playing just 57 across his entire 5-year career. They threw him in at right tackle. And that's going to be the big focus. I'm sure you've heard so much about the trenches in this game, how good these edge rushers are. And man, I don't know if you can really I don't know if you can overstate how important the trenches are going to be in this football game, especially in a game of inches where both teams are going to be playing at a high level, because it means a lot for both of these teams. Will Anderson Jr. has generated the 4th most pressures in the 4th quarter this season, while Danielle Hunter ranks 1 spot behind him. That's 22 and 21. 4th and 5th in the National Football League in pressures in the 4th quarter. Together, they've combined for 11.5 4th quarter sacks, the most by any pass rushing duo. It's been an incredible season for this defense. Oh man, this defense is quite something to see. I fear how it's going to work out with how the Chiefs are. Again, Juwan Taylor listed as doubtful on Friday, as well as Trey Smith listed as doubtful as well. If Trey Smith is able to go, we'll see how they are able to. And so if Trey Smith is able to go and Juwan is not, how does that offensive line rotation look? Do they put Jalen Moore at the left tackle position? Is it Wanya Morris on the right side? I would feel comfortable with that configuration. I don't know if I necessarily feel comfortable with the inverse. It's because of Will Anderson, truthfully. He is so good. He is the third most quick pressures in the NFL this season, and he has a 0.79 second average get off. That is absolutely insane, and he's a dog on third down as well. 36 pressures on third down. That's 9 more than the next closest player, which is Myles Garrett. Of those 36 pressures, 20 of them were under 2.5 seconds. So that ball is going to have to get out of his hands quick. The Chiefs are going to have to be able to scheme some stuff up if they want to be able to hang in there with this nasty Texans defense. But those are the couple things. Those are the 2 spots that I'm looking for. The beef of the week is going to be Danielle Hunter versus whoever plays left tackle. And the other beef, the second beef, is Will Anderson Jr., who plays the other tackle, who plays right tackle. Those are my beef of the week. Appreciate our friends at Batchelder Family Farms, as always. But now, we got to get to Benny's picks. Benny's got a pick for us. Sports betting is now live in the state of Missouri, so I got to hear what Benny's got.
What is happening, people? It is Ben Heisler, KCSN betting analyst, here for 5 things and here to talk some Chiefs and Texans on Sunday night. We will get into a betting play for that game, especially now because you saw the date, right? You saw the month on the calendar. It's December. Missouri has finally got sports betting, and your moment is finally here. DraftKings Sportsbook, America's top-rated sportsbook app, now live in the Show Me State. Everything gets a little bit more exciting. You can make every game more fun with same-game parlays, money lines, props, totals, spreads, and more, all from your phone, all safe, secure, and easy to use. And Missouri fans, listen, you guys know game day. And when I say Missouri fans, I mean folks here in the state of Missouri. But we're talking about Missouri fans, KU fans, KC fans. As long as you're in the state of Missouri right now, you're now getting all the fun that comes with DraftKings Sportsbook. You can bring that same energy to every snap, every touchdown, and every win. And right now, new customers in the state of Missouri can bet just $5 and get $300 in bonus bets instantly. There's no waiting, no nonsense, no phony baloney business, just pure action powered by America's top-rated sportsbook app. So let's talk about this Chiefs game, right? Is the season over? No, it's not over yet. And there's plenty of action to go along with it. The Chiefs are 3.5-point favorites at home on Sunday Night Football against the Houston Texans, with a total that has now creeped down to 41.5, was sitting at around 42.5. A couple of books even had it at 43, but right now at DraftKings, 41.5. The 3.5 kind of scares me. I do think the Chiefs win this game, but I'm going to go with a prop bet for this matchup instead. I'm going to take Patrick Mahomes to go under 35.5 pass attempts in this matchup against Houston. Now, you might be saying to yourself, well, if you think the Chiefs are going to win, don't you think Mahomes is going to throw the ball and throw the ball well? I still think he can, but there's a couple of reasons why I like this line. The first is that most books have actually moved this number down to 34.5. So we've seen some movement on this line from 35.5 down to 34.5. That's the direction this bet's likely going. VK offering solid value on this number as of this recording. And then you have to talk about the Texas pass defense, right? They've been outstanding, especially since their turnaround after a pretty rough start to the year. But they've been great. And I think because of that, you have really good corners. They have a great pass rush. And I think Mahomes' willingness to check down actually plays into why I'd rather go lower on, attempts than say completions, which is at 22.5. But if you look at Houston collectively, they've allowed a top 5 rate in completion percentage. And, if you're Kansas City in this type of game, knowing that you're dealing with the injuries that you have on your offensive line, you want to keep your quarterback upright. And by leaning on the run, you got a healthy Pacheco, you got a healthy Kareem Hunt. Mahomes can still scramble out of the pocket. Right now, I think his prop is 22.5. You can keep him without falling down and running for his life by using the run to upgrade and have them chase after the pass instead of the other way around. We know how good Texans pass defense is. We know how good their rush unit is in getting to the quarterback. And Mahomes still has a completion percentage of just under 65.5%. So I think he'll be efficient in his throws. He'll work off of play action. That's going to help keep some of those guys like Will Anderson away from him. So I like Mahomes. I think the Chiefs still have a decent game, but I'm going to go under 35.5 pass attempts here on Sunday Night Football over on DraftKings. And remember, this is the important part. Whether you're going with the bet, whether you're going against the bet, doesn't really matter. But you got to download the DraftKings Sportsbook app today. Use that code KCSN. And remember, new Missouri customers can bet $5 and get $300 in bonus bets instantly. That is code KCSN. DraftKings Sportsbook, the crown is yours, in partnership with DraftKings Sportsbook. Remember, if you have a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. You must be 21 plus, physically present in Missouri. Eligibility and restrictions apply. Terms at DraftKings.com/sportsbook. Bonus bets expire 7 days after they're issued. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, please visit sportsbook.draftkings.com/promos.
You're the man, Benny. Appreciate the pick. All right, let's round this one out. Last point that we have here on Five Things. Joshua Briscoe, Nate Taylor, Seth Kaiser. Bring us home, fellas.
Thank you, Tucker. It's only weird games, and man, we've had plenty of weird ones in a very weird season. Joshua Briscoe, Seth Kaiser, and Nate Taylor. Seth, I'm going to give you the ball first here because you have a very simple job. Help the Kansas City Chiefs pass rush get to C.J. Stroud. How do they do it?
Absent Furious George or Charles Omenihu or Mike Dana or Ashton Gelati, just playing better. They really do, in my opinion, they need to start unlocking a few more games up front. It's not what Spags favored. It's not what he's traditionally done, which is precisely why it would probably work. Teams really don't prep for stunts against the Chiefs because, except when they're blitzing, they just don't do it that much. Karlaftis is a great fit for it. Omenihu is a great fit for it. You can isolate Chris Jones on one side, on the outside shoulder of a guard, and draw the protection that way. And then you can run a 2 or 3 man game on the other side. This can be done. They just can't keep doing what they've been doing because it's not working. Now, one thing that's at least worth noting is the Texans' offensive line is arguably, and by arguably, I think actually worse than the current iteration of the Chiefs' offensive line. Like, we're very stressed out, but Creed Humphrey is better than any player on the Texans offensive line. Kingsley Suamataia is as good as anyone on the Texans offensive line. And Jalen Moore arguably is also as good as anyone on their offensive line. So that's not a good offensive line. So they might be able to just have more success just based on the quality of competition. And if they are, then you don't have to really change anything up or dust anything up because blitzing will be more effective because you don't have to do it. So you can take them by surprise. But I would love to see them run a few more games up front. I would love for them to utilize Leo Chanel a little bit, not as like an edge rusher, but as like a force player, blitzing from the A gap or being even lining up as a defensive tackle coming in from the A gap and just firing up as the force player and letting someone loop around him, or let him be the guy who's executing the stunt to the inside because he's very athletic, doesn't change direction super well, but he can close fast and finish as well. So those are some of the things I would do if I were them. I look forward to them not doing any of them.
I mean, Nate, you've been out there. You're out in the facilities 5 days a week, it seems. What is the likelihood of getting a sort of late season iteration like this and what feels kind of like a playoff game?
Yeah, it is a playoff game, Josh. And because of everything Seth just said, if I were Steve Spagnuolo and Joe Cullen, the defensive line coach, how often can I scheme it up to where Chris Jones gets a one-on-one? That's honestly your hope because of what Seth said about their offensive line. Okay, I'm sure Chris has done plenty of film study. You know, he had a lot of success last year, in particular in the postseason game when the Chiefs beat the Texans in the divisional round. Hey, Chris, who you want to go up against? And then how can I mug things up? Do I want to have a bare front to go 5-on-5? I don't care what it takes. You know, if it's on third down, I know Chris likes to occasionally go out to defensive end if he thinks he can get a one-on-one against the tackle. So do anything and everything to get Chris in favorable matchups because he's the only one I trust. Now, it would be nice if – I think this game really does come down to from a defensive front standpoint, can you get more from Charles Omenihu and can you get more from George Karlaftis? And I would say that the 10-day mini bye helps Chris Jones the most because he is the oldest player. He's their best player. But, man, it's got to help Charles Omenihu. It's got to help George Karlaftis, who's dealing with a right thumb injury. We've seen it at practice. It is a very big wrap, mini cast around his hand. So someone who likes to play with power, we're hoping that he feels better than I guess he did on Thanksgiving Day. But I do have a recommendation for the fans who are either watching this game at a bar, their house, a friend's house, or if they're so brave enough to go out to Arrowhead Stadium, because the Chiefs do play better at home this season than on the road. That is a clear fact. When it happens, when someone beats a one-on-one, or who knows, even a double team, if you're Chris Jones, if someone sacks CJ Stroud, I want you to quietly stand up and give that player a standing ovation. Because, ladies and gentlemen, it's been 11 quarters since the Chiefs have sacked the opposing quarterback. And remember, guys, Daniel Jones was essentially a statue because of his own leg injury entering that game. Now, Dak Prescott was amazing against the blitz. You hope to get less explosive plays from CJ Stroud, but they got to get home. And that's the easiest way this Chiefs defense can actually get off the field on third down is if they actually sack the quarterback. So when it happens, if it happens, give that player a standing ovation because they've truly done something magical that hasn't happened in 11 consecutive quarters.
You guys have done a really bad job of making me feel better about this game this week, but hey, I think the podcasts have been pretty good. So for all three of us here from Only Weird Games, we'll mercifully hand it back over to Tucker.
All right, well, all that's left is to play the football game. Chiefs, Texans, Sunday night football, playoff atmosphere, playoff weather going down at Arrowhead Stadium as well. Cannot wait for this one. We will be locked in, loaded for you here at KC Sports Network. We'll have our post-game show live as soon as that final whistle sounds. Better have the YouTube up because we will be live. Ken Swanson, Maddie Lane, and myself will be breaking this one down. Hopefully, we are in a jovial mood after a Chiefs win. So make sure to hit that like button, hit the subscribe button. We'll have plenty of content for you. Still leading up to the game, we'll got content for you. And after the game as well, we'll have it covered from all angles. Appreciate you hanging out with us and appreciate you hitting that like and subscribe button. Thank you to our partners, Batchelder Family Farms. Love the fine Brad and Jenna, fine folks at Batchelder Family Farms. Be out there next week to go mess around with some of these animals. It's going to be chilly one, so make sure to bundle up if you're headed out there to Arrowhead and headed out to the farm. That's going to do it. I'm Tucker Franklin. Thank you for watching 5 Things. We'll see you after Chiefs and Texans.